that you would preach to, that you preach to your pet clients that you work with? What's that one thing that you kind of start with, that you preach to them before, getting started into training with their dogs and whatnot?
The heart in me, I would like to say hand feed your dog. My, other piece of advice that would be neck and neck right there is create structure with your dog. Have your dog have some sort of boundaries and rules at home. It's very important for these reactive dogs because a lot of them, they don't make good decisions. And if you give them full reign to make decisions all the time for themselves and they keep messing up and making the wrong decision, you're not helping them. Yeah. You have to show them like, hey, I got you. I got you. You're under control. Like, I'll tell you exactly what to do and when to do it, and everything's going to be fine.
Go and get it with no hesitation. This that never quit. Start that elevation. This that process. This that in the making. This that started from the bottom.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Elevated Canine Podcast, and I am here with my co-host,
Roel Guerra.
And today we have our good friend, Mr. Shane. How do you pronounce your last name?
Well, so when I'm telling people, I tell them Murray because it's easier to spell it, but it's Murray.
Murray.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We're here with Shane Murray.
There you go, Murray. It has a little fling to it.
You guys probably seen him on TikTok, and now his Instagram's blowing up. And one of the reasons why I thought it would be a good idea to get Shane on here is just because I appreciate him always, seeking knowledge and trying to get better. And he's out there helping a lot of people. He's got a lot of, clients he's been working with. So, yeah. What's up, man? How's it going, bro?
Good, bro. Pleasure to be here. Very excited. Big fan. I've been following you for a long, long time. So it means a lot when people like that say things like that to me. So I appreciate it, bro. But, yeah. Never stop learning. It's kind of the idea of it. I understand I may get under some people's skin with how much questions I may ask and get into it. But
stay on the mic, though. There
okay,
you go.
There we go. There we go.
So, Shane, man, why don't you tell us a little bit about, your story, where it started, where you really felt that, dogs were something you wanted to dedicate your life to. And, man, tell us from the beginning how to start.
Right. So I used to do construction. So that was kind of what I thought was going to be my path for the rest of my life. I always liked animals, always grew up with the dog, but never had any dog training or anything like that. So did construction, thought that was going to be my life till I got my boy Zeus. Once I got Zeus, he was fairly reactive. And so like I was when I was young, I moved out. I didn't have any money for a dog trainer. So I figured I'd take it upon myself, and I started doing it myself. And then just working with him, finally learning dogs. So getting my hands on an actual, reactive dog really helped me out big time with my whole development as a trainer. And then I just started doing that for free for friends' dogs, for family members' dogs. And then I started charging for it. TikTok blew up, and here we are.
Nice, man.
So you started training dogs without any mentorship.
Yeah, so definitely not something I recommend. So my boy Zeus, I love him to death, and he definitely took the brunt of it. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of trial and error with my own dog. So I would always want someone to go to a mentor, but I just didn't have the money. I didn't have the resources. This is probably around like 4 years ago. So I didn't even know there was dog training. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing that people had jobs for. Like, I just had my boy, and then we started working on things, and then he helped me out big time, but he took the brunt of it, and I feel bad for him sometimes, but that's why, I give him the life that he gets now. So I don't recommend not doing it without a mentor at all. Like, you could learn a lot quicker and a lot safer with a good mentor. But then again, it is hard choosing a mentor. But above all, no matter how many mentors you have, how much education you get, if you don't put your hands on a dog, you're not going to get the full experience.
Yeah. Right. I mean, this day and age, there's so much information out there that you could learn how to train dogs without somebody guiding you. But would you say that if you could do it again, and you had the finances, would you have went to somebody to help you learn?
Absolutely. So it's hard to say that because it's like, I don't regret anything, but absolutely. I would not have had to put so much pressure on my boy. Yeah. I would have learned, about redirection, management, and like just these other nuances that I didn't know about dogs.
Right.
I thought, you put a prong collar on them and you pop them to make them listen.
That's what I did too.
That's about it. And thankfully, Zeus stood through it. He's a real tough dog. So I definitely would go the mentor route, but it kind of
it's part of the process. I think everybody learns different, and even we all make mistakes even with mentors. I think we tend to make mistakes. So I mean, Zeus doing pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, for him to be where he's at after all that shit, like, I got love for him. He's definitely a special dog. But, you got to get that hands-on experience. And, like, even as I did, like, everything I learned off of was YouTube. Like, I was on YouTube. I was watching people I wouldn't even give the time of day with right now.
Right.
And so you could take in this stuff and you could watch all these videos and read all these books, but if you don't put your hands on the dog, you're not going to understand the difference from the education versus the application.
Right.
Because it's way completely two different things.
Yeah. No, I think, definitely you got to get your hands, a little dirty and freaking get out there and work with the dog. I think I regret, even with my first dog, now I look back, I'm like, man, that sucks, that I had to put her through that stuff when I didn't know. And then I see a lot of the new trainers and they're doing a lot of the same stuff that I was doing back then, and I'm like, hey, man, that's part of the process. Like, I feel like you're going to go through that before you could get, in a place where you're really good. I think that, definitely I didn't have the resources that like we have now. I feel like there's a lot of great content out there right now. Yeah. And, for not that much, I think you could get your hands on some content that will teach you how to work with your dog. But yeah, man. And then, so I saw you compete with, Zeus at the Canine Street League in, up north in Northern California. And that was when I was kind of like, yo, this dude, he knows how to handle the dog. Dog looks pretty good. Did you end up passing? Yeah, right? You passed that time.
So we barely passed, but we passed.
Because your dog peed, right, when he was walking out of the field?
I thought the rule was no peeing on the field. He peed. I understand now. You can't pee at all. But either way.
So you were already past the starting line. He peed between the entrance of the field and the starting line?
No, on the exit.
Oh, right leaving.
There. As he was leaving. As he was leaving. But anyways, was that your first competition?
Yeah, so that was my first competition with him. I didn't prep for it as well as I should have. It was kind of a last minute thing, but I always kept up with his obedience and bite work and whatnot. So kind of last minute, I decided to do it, and he showed out. He passed. He did his thing. It's tough for an off breed, let alone an off breed. He's just a mutt. So like the way I got Zeus, he was just rehomed for me from a buddy who we followed on Instagram, and he didn't have time for his dog, which again is the most responsible thing you can do. If you have a dog and you do not have time for it, just rehome the dog.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. So he was rehomed to me. So he was just a backyard bred bully mutt.
Yeah.
And so like for him to be able to do that with all, there's Mals that didn't pass, there's Shepherds that didn't pass, and I was like, holy shit. And like I think that's when I always knew he was special, but I think right then and there I was like, this dog is super special.
Yeah.
Like for him to be able to do these things that these purebred dogs who are born to do this type of work can't do.
Yeah.
He's very special. So yeah, that was our first competition ever. I'm glad I looked like I held it together because I was shaking on the inside, bro. I was like, but like one thing I learned, like you got to fake it till you make it when you're out there. Like the dog's reading you, and the dog's like gonna see how you're acting. And I could be nervous on the inside, but if I portray like, hey, we got this, let's go, the dog's going to read that.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Think that helped out a lot.
One thing I've noticed with you and Zeus is, yes, he's a bully, but he's an off-breed. And you can tell when he's working that it's not the same as like a Mal or whatever. But one thing I've noticed with you and your dog is he trusts you. Mm-hmm. He trusts you 100%. Yeah. And that's something that I think is special between what you guys have, because other dogs wouldn't.
Yeah, and I preach that a lot to the clients too. Like it's always relationship first. Like if my dog doesn't want to do shit with me, it doesn't matter how I teach it. Doesn't matter what treat I use, what toy I use. If the dog doesn't enjoy doing things with me, it's all pointless.
Right.
So I emphasize that a lot with Zeus. Just making him do it. Like we would jump up on rocks together. We would do a bunch of stupid shit just to get him to do it together. And I would always push him. Like a lot of people give me shit because they see Zeus standing on a bollard. On all four toes doing obedience on a bollard. And people are like, why do you make him do it? It builds the bond. Like it builds the trust. I put him through these stressors and he overcomes it. And I'm sitting there right there with him, coaching him through it all the way. If he falls, I'll catch him. Like I'm always right there. And so I think, like you're saying, like no matter the genetics of the dog, you can't fake that shit.
Right.
No,
you either got it with the dog. And I can see a dog with a good heel, but like you can see the relationship. Like what happens after the heel? The dog grabs the toy, runs away from the handler.
Yeah,
Like, you could tell like the relationship isn't there. So that's
1000%.
something I like to emphasize a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, but that doesn't come. I mean, yeah, it comes with training, but it also comes with you like outside of like everything that you do outside of training. I know with Wapo for a while, I felt like, oh, he's just like a working dog. He doesn't really care too much about me. But in the last years, I've kind of changed how I interacted with him. Like I take him everywhere with me. He gets to hang out. Like he knows when he's just gonna be in the truck hanging out. And yeah, it's a different type of bond that you create with a dog when you treat him like that. Don't just treat him like a working dog where they just, you're gonna have him in the crate and then take him out to work and then put him back in the crate or put him back in the kennel and that's it. Like if you want to, I feel like if you want to compete at a high level and you really want to, like for example, bro, preparing for the last trial that I did with Wapo, I didn't really prepare for the trial until like 2 weeks prior. However, he just like held it together. And I think it has a lot to do with me and him just having that bond and hanging out together outside of training. And then when we do train, he just, now he has the experience where he knows what he's doing, but I think it helps out.
And we'll get back to that too.
Yeah,
3 times.
That might be another episode. We have to bring Christian back in here. But yeah, no, I think and man, I think that I appreciate that what you and Zeus have, because I remember when I first started, that's how I was with my first dog. It was like outside of training, it had nothing to do with training. Actually, it had everything to do with just me hanging out with my dog and taking her everywhere, because that was my responsibility. I didn't have kids, I didn't have a wife at the time, and so that's all I did was hang out with my dog. And so yeah, I appreciate that, man. And like I think it gets if you get too deep into the industry and you get all into that, you're gonna hopefully you keep that with all your dogs. You know what I'm saying? As you can see, like even with your new dog, I've kind of told you like, hey bro, like don't neglect like getting him out and just hanging out with him, even if it's a pain in the ass in the beginning, but you got to create that with that dog, because you don't want to get into that other habit of that, the culture that runs of like, oh, this is like my main pet dog, and then this is like my working dog that I only take out to work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'm definitely feeling the results of that. And that goes back into the whole mentor thing, right? So like, if I didn't have you to help me out in that sense, I'd still be doing so. I'd still be taking the puppy out, work him, then put him away. Yeah. Right. So like, that's where having a mentor does come into play, and someone just you could consult with, because that helps out big time. And sometimes a little too much knowledge could kind of hurt you. Like now I know more things. Now I'm like, okay, we're gonna do all these things with the puppy versus with Zeus. I did do a lot of that shit. We just hung out. Like he just come in. Like he comes with me everywhere. Everywhere. And so like with the knowledge I had, now I'm like, okay, well now I gotta work the puppy. I gotta teach him this, then that. Yeah. And then I do feel it takes away from. I mean, you could just call it fun. It takes away from the fun of the training. Sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm so focused on the goal of what I'm trying to do. I get frustrated, I get pissed off, and then it just starts to die out,
Royal, what do you think that is, bro? Like, what do you think that is in us? Is it ego? What is it that we like get? Because I know, like, I've been there, obviously, where I'm like, oh, like I want to make sure, like, I could show.
Especially with like my first working, like he's my first working.
Yeah,
like I'm like, I gotta get it right.
I think it's I want to say, for me, it's lack of experience, because I'm so new to this and I want to do well. Because there are people all around us, like the 3-time regionals.
Big dog.
Yeah, 3-time winner of the regionals,
Not
IGP
much.
Southwest regionals. But when you're around so many people who are just so good at what they do, you want to show that your dog
is holding his own.
Is holding his own. And like something I did with Leela, and I've talked about this before, is I would get the picture close enough and then I'd move on to something else. And now there's just bits and pieces there's holes everywhere, because I was trying so fast to get this dog to do something, right? One specific thing. Oh, she can do it. Nice. Let's go on to the next thing. And so it's ego, right? It's ego. It's you wanting your friends and other peers in the dog industry to see your dog is doing well. But I think that for me, that's probably the biggest thing. Well, whereas in guys like you, probably like, oh, I don't care. Like,
no, I did. But I did. Like, I mean, now I don't really care as much. But I mean, even then, sometimes I do get into like my head, like, oh, I'm not showing enough, maybe, and that's when you kind of doubt yourself a little bit, like, man, am I even that good? Like, maybe I'm not as good as I think I am. And it's always good to be, checking yourself a little bit like that. But yeah, I think, there's a lot of pressure to perform.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Pressure from pressure that we put on ourselves because we think other people are watching. For me, at least.
Yeah. No, and I mean, the ego's always going to be there, but it's how we use the ego. Right?
Yeah.
Like if I use it the right way to motivate myself, but if I start getting upset over little things with the dog, like it's just gonna hurt the relationship with the dog, and then it ain't gonna go right. So that's something I've just come to learn. Like even with my puppy now, like people love to think like I don't make mistakes with my dogs and shit because I'm a trainer. Absolutely, like it's a huge mistake. It's a huge mistake only taking them out to work them and then put them away. It's a huge mistake, and I think we're constantly going to be making mistakes. Now the thing is that what do you do after that mistake? Do you learn from it, or are you like, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna just deal with it later? Then it comes again, and I'm a firm believer the universe will always teach you the same lesson till you learn that shit.
And that's not only with your sport dogs too. Like for those of us who do boarding trains, the reason why I'll say I can't go because I have too many dogs. I can't go because I have too many dogs. That's because I don't just train the dog and put it back in the crate. Yeah. I train the dog and I like to hang out with the dog. I don't want the dog to just be in the crate or in the dog run the entire day. Yeah. I let them roam around my living room when I'm sitting there. I try to let them feel like they're having a home experience while they're with me training.
And that's the right thing to do, man. And in the culture of dog training, especially people that are involved with dog sport, we see it all the time. Like they'll come out. I mean, and the crates are the dogs are in the crate while we're working all day, literally from like 8 a.m. to, in the afternoon. Yep. And the dog's in the crate because we're working with a bunch of other dogs. So I definitely think that, for whoever's out there doing boarding trains, like, make sure you keep that in mind of, hey, you are getting paid for a service. Make sure you do more than the bare minimum. Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's hard sometimes. Like
it is.
I don't do boarding trains, So I do a lot of private clients, and they explain to me the same issues, and it's hard to keep that structure, that boundaries, and those relationship and those things with the dog when you're with them all the time.
Right.
Sometimes it's hard to really be on top of the dog all the time, and then just have the dog hanging out with you on a leash and doing things like that.
Yeah. No, I agree. Going back to like the whole about putting pressure on ourselves and everything is funny. Like this last trial, I had a couple people that I was helping, and bro, one of them got there to practice, and there was somebody else there watching, and that caused a little bit of like pressure, and in my head I'm like, so I told her, I said, hey, does this person put food on your table? No. Hey, like, are they interested in using your dog as a stud, or like, is there anything? No. Why are you putting unnecessary pressure on yourself over? And really, that's what it is, man. And at the end of the day, what really counts is first of all, you get proof to yourself, but the results. Nobody cares about that 15-second clip that you did of your dog licking really good and healing. At the end, if you really want to perform, you're going to put in the work without caring who's watching, because you're going to make mistakes. It's going to look ugly. But all of a sudden, you're going to be in a place where you're competing, or, every video you put out is going to be fire. But because you already did all the work without caring, and I've been guilty of this, I want to film everything, and then my session with my dog just goes to shit because I'm so stuck in my own head of like what I want to show. Rather, if you just did the work, you will get to a point where every video that you shoot is going to be fire because you already did all the hard work and all the hard labor of getting there. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely, and that's the whole TikTok and Instagram thing. Like I've done it before, bro. I've gotten upset with Zeus over a fucking TikTok because he just not cooperating. I'm like, bro, what am I doing? What am I doing here? But it'll get to you, and you just got to learn to find that balance. It's cool to do fun videos with your dog, but don't make it about doing the fun video with your dog. Make it about doing the thing with your dog. Yeah. The video comes after, and so I do a lot of TikTok lives and Instagram lives, and I enjoy doing those because people see the ugliness.
Yeah.
Like they see the dog fucking up. They see the dog dropping their head in the heel. They see the dog not outing. And like it brings a really realistic picture to it where
Right.
you may not see that off a TikTok. Like you go to my Instagram, my TikTok, you're like, man, his dogs are perfect.
Right.
Absolutely not. My clients see Zeus getting up off the placemat while we're doing sessions and things like that. So it's one of those things where I enjoy doing the long videos too, so the people could see the realistic.
Yeah, I'll
the
never
thing that's
forget
coming
the
back.
first time I went to Irwindale Field and Oscar was there. And we were packing up, getting ready to leave, and he was like, Guapo, come. Guapo was not coming. Guapo, get over here. Guapo. And I was like, okay, he's human. His dogs are perfect.
Straight up, bro. Straight
Guapo,
up.
get over here. And he finally came.
And then
He was
that
just
goes back.
playing.
That goes back to what you're saying about the pressure, right? Like when you only see perfection on
Yeah.
these videos, you're like, "Holy shit, his
Yeah.
dog never fucks up."
Yeah.
And then that's where the
Yeah, that
pressure
couldn't be
comes
further
back
from
in.
the truth,
You
you
know, and then that's just how it is. Just because y'all don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you said, like you preach to us as trainers. Of course, the dog is going to perform in a training session.
Right.
You have your vest on, and the dog knows you got treats on you, and you're using your
You got
dog
all his
your
rewards.
e-collar.
Yeah.
The dog sees a picture. Oh, we're going to train. Yeah, the dog's going to listen.
Yeah.
But he just let him use the restroom, and you're calling back, and he was like, well, I kind of want to go smell over here.
Yeah.
We're not training right now. I'm going to go do this.
Yeah.
And, you know, nobody's perfect.
That was a long time ago. He won't do that.
He's a three-time champ. He don't do
Yeah,
that.
3-time, my bad. My
No,
bad.
but I can't remember what trainer said it, but I'm always good at remembering quotes, but not the people who say it.
Yeah.
But he was explaining, he's like, if my training, I want to say it was Pat Stewart, but he was saying, if my training session doesn't have any failures, I did not progress that session, right? Because if you have a perfect session, dog didn't learn anything. Dog's just doing the stuff he already knows.
Yeah.
Right. But if I have mistakes and I'm able to go through it, now the dog's learning things. Right. And so that truly like kind of thumped me a little bit because I was always worried about the perfection. But then I stay stagnant in that area. You
Yeah.
have to push your dog a little bit to get those mistakes and find those holes and start to fix them.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. If there was one thing, switching gears, if there was one thing that that you would preach to, you know, that you preach to your pet clients that you work with, what's that one thing that you kind of start with that you preach to them before, you know, getting started into training with their dogs and whatnot?
I mean, so the heart in me, I would like to say, you know, just like hand feed your dog. Right. But from doing this with a lot of pet clients, and granted, I work with a lot of very reactive dogs. Okay. Zeus is reactive bully, and that was kind of my story. And then since then, I work with a lot of reactive bullies, reactive shepherds, reactive mouths, and whatnot. So my, you know, other piece of advice that would be neck and neck right there is create structure with your dog. Have your dog have some sort of boundaries and rules at home. I get so many clients where the dog does not listen at all inside the house. The dog does whatever they want inside the house. And then they go outside, and then the client wants the dog to listen to them. Your dog spends 85 to 90% of their life inside the home. If that is what they're doing all day inside the home, just not listening, even if it's as simple as, hey, get off the couch.
Yeah.
Hey, go to your bed. Hey, go to your crate. If your dog is not performing that inside the home with no distractions, no triggers, no anything, you are not going to get anything outside.
Right.
No matter how much you hand feed them, how much you do your stuff. I hate to say it, but dogs are kind of assholes. They're very selfish if you let them be, right? And so they will just continue to push and push and push. So if I couldn't say hand feeding, I would definitely say you have to have some sort of structure with your dog at the house. Whatever it is, there has to be some sort of rules.
Right. I agree.
You know, and it's very important for these reactive dogs because a lot of them, they don't make good decisions. And if you give them full reign to make decisions all the time for themselves and they keep messing up and making the wrong decision, you're not helping them.
Yeah.
You have to show them like, hey, I got you.
Yeah, yeah.
I got you. You're under control. Like I'll tell you exactly what to do and when to do it, and everything's going to be fine. But you can't only do that once you see a dog walking down the street.
Yeah.
That has to be a consistent thing you always do with your dog.
Yep. And I seen that video of I think it was Zeus barking at somebody outside in your new place, and you're like, yo, like I need to control this because this could escalate to something else when he's out there. There, you know, I think he was barking at people or something.
Yeah. The male carrier, and that's how reactivity brews itself. And so, I think that is far more important than anything else you could do. Your dog is just send them up for success. Having them outside or inside the home with some sort of rules and boundaries.
Yeah.
Everything else, I guarantee you will follow. I guarantee it will follow.
All right. So I put it on Instagram that we're going to have Shane here, and I think you put it on yours too, right? So I know we do have a couple questions, Shane. So, and then there's something else we want to talk to you guys a little bit about after this, but let's touch on this a little bit. Let me see. All right, so let's go to oh man, we have a bunch of questions. All right, let me see. This is a good one actually, and I think it brings out a good topic. It says, would you associate yourself with trainers who punish the dogs more than they should?
I think that's a very individualized question that depends on who is deciding more than they should. You know, because me punishing my dog for not outing could be to you more than I should be having to punish them. Right. So I think it really depends on the perspective of the person. But if I think you're over punishing your dog, then I'm probably not going to say anything, because at the end of the day, it's really not my business. You train how you want to train, but I probably won't take training advice from you.
Yeah.
But as long as you're not outright like abusing the dog and, hurting the animal, then
right.
I mean, I'm not going to have any hate towards you. I'm just going to say, I think you don't know what you're doing to the most extent.
Yeah. What do you think, Ro?
I guess it depends. Like you said, it's subjective, because
that's the word. Subjective.
There are trainers out there who do nothing but compulsion, and in some people's eyes, that's abuse, right? It's overcorrecting a dog. I saw the other day someone was saying that my dog yelped from a correction, but there are some dogs that'll yelp if you just barely tug on the leash.
For sure.
So it really depends. Now, if the guy's actually, for me, I think it's an overcorrection when the emotion of the trainer is being put through the leash. So if he's angry and he's correcting the dog, and you can tell that there's anger behind it, then that's probably abuse, right?
And at that point, you should. I think
you should definitely say something.
I mean, I would probably be like, "Yo, like, chill out a little bit." You know what I'm saying? Like, let's take it easy. And I definitely think that.
Would I associate with them? I mean, I'm always going to be cordial with people, but like you said, I probably wouldn't take advice from you, and I probably wouldn't show up to train with you.
Yeah, that's a good one. Biggest improvement you have seen with Zeus and Slim individually?
I'd say Zeus with his dog neutrality.
He's getting better.
He's almost bulletproof at this point, But like he don't play with the shit either. Like, he's super good, but if, like, say an off leash dog runs up to his face, he's gonna posture up.
Yeah.
Tail's gonna go up, hackle's gonna go up. He's gonna stiffen up. He's gonna let that dog know, like, hey, I don't want you coming any closer. So that's a great improvement from where we came. And so that's an acceptable stance for me. Like, I don't punish him for that. I'll tell him, hey, come on, let's go, heel. But I don't punish him for that. That's his reaction to dogs. I think I will never fix that out of him. That is who he is. He doesn't like dogs running up to him. That's who he is.
Yeah, but he's making the decision not to just go.
Exactly.
So I would say that's normal dog behavior.
Right? Especially for the bully type.
I mean,
breeds,
mine wouldn't posture up.
And so that's the thing. So that's here, like, especially with the demo dog stuff. Like, I never pictured he'd be able to be doing demo dog things with, like, random dogs. Like, I had him when he was, I want to say, 2 years old. He went like a full year without seeing dogs, because I was like, dude, you need help. Like, we need to get this. And like, from 2 years old, like, we train. That's how all his obedience and shit got good. Then I started bringing it around dogs. But I never pictured, like, I'd let him demo dog and I'd let him correct little puppies to teach them how to dog and stuff like that. So big improvement there. With Slim, I'd say just the relationship. We started off, I was very much like, we're doing this right now. I'm teaching you this right now. We're going to learn this. And then it kind of killed the fun, especially when he wasn't going to my expectations. And then I stopped focusing on that so much. I just started focusing on just doing fun stuff with him, just playing with him and doing things like that. And now our relationship, hell of a lot better. He's still a little crazy when he's out the crate, but I can tell he likes to be around me and he likes to do things with me and he likes to hang out with me. And that's big.
From our friend Melanie.
What up, Melanie?
Who are mentors and why did you choose them? And why did you think they chose you?
Well, so I would say, so my first mentor, I put quotations because I never met the guy, but Michael Ellis. So like he's the first one I came across when I started looking up YouTube videos. All this stuff is like, once I see Michael Ellis videos, the way he teaches, the way he is with his dogs, the things he teaches, it just caught me really, really strong. And so I dove so deep into everything. I've watched every video he's got on YouTube. I
Yeah.
have literally watched every single one. And so that would be my first, like I said, mentor, because that's someone who I truly look up to.
You and me
like,
both. Yep.
You know, and like, I never seen him. There was nothing where he said or posted or did where I was like, I don't know
Yeah.
about that. Like everything just made so much sense and it was perfectly explained. And then after that, it'd be you, Oscar. So like, I've been around a lot of different trainers and whatnot, but same thing. Like sometimes a trainer will do something where I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like I know enough to know when the dots don't connect, right?
Yeah.
And so like I see that in a lot of trainers, and then when I bring it up with a lot of trainers, some of them, the ego gets in the way, and they're like, you're gonna tell me I don't know what I'm doing? You're gonna question my shit, and that's when I'm like, okay, you know, hey, you're at where you're at, and so I never got that vibe with you, and everything you did made sense, even if it didn't make sense a little. You showed me right then and there why it made sense, and I was like, oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah, and I personally, I mean, I appreciate the questions. I think that was one of the main reasons that I was, because at first I think, you know, you had messaged me and I was like, I don't know about this guy, like, you know. Sure. But then once you kept asking me, I'm like, all right, this guy obviously wants to learn, and I always feel like I love trying to help people, more so the ones that are like asking questions. And when you ask me the why, I should, as a trainer, you should be able to explain why, not and the answer isn't going to be because I've been doing it longer than you and I've done more than you. No, the answer should be why is this a good idea? And you know, or sometimes what you mentioned, it might be a good idea, and we go, okay, well, let's try that. Then if it doesn't work, then we can try this.
Yep.
If you want to grow as a trainer, which I want to keep growing as a trainer, you have to get good at explaining things like that and seeing that your way might not be the best sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I appreciate all those questions. And I think that anybody that's out there that's looking for a mentor, if you go to somebody and you go, hey, can you explain why you're doing it this way? And if they go, don't worry about it, I've been doing it for 20 years. That's not going to teach you the why
that ain't it, bro.
that is being done. So I definitely encourage you to, you know, when you do have somebody that's helping you out, you question them. Question why they're going to correct your dog the way they're going to correct your dog. I wish I would have.
Yeah,
you know, I wish I would have done that. And I did. And the reason why I didn't do it was because for that reason that, they have way more time than me in the game. But that doesn't mean that you can't, you know, that they're doing everything the right way. So definitely question your trainers. That's how you're going to get better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing, man.
Yep.
Biggest thing. Can't stop learning.
All right, let's see. How do you handle burnout if you have had burnout?
I'm not a good person to answer this question. So I work a lot. I work a lot. I get temporary burnout. So I get like burnout from like the morning to my first session. Once I'm there training the dog, my burnout completely goes away. Like I get in my flow state and I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing here on this world. Like this is it. And like, even if I got 6, like I'll try not to do 6 clients in one day, but say I got 6 clients in one day, like I'm like, damn, I got 6. But as soon as I start getting in the groove, I completely forget about all the stress of having 6 clients. I'm like, you know, this is fun. I truly enjoy what I'm doing. So I have temporary burnout, okay? So it's not like a long term, but I would say like if at any time, so like I did have to cut my clients down, like I don't do 6 anymore, but like if you feel like you're not able to provide the same quality service to your client, you need to cut out some clients. You need to take a day off. You need to do something like that. So now recently I have started taking Wednesdays off, and that's when I'll meet up with you guys to train. But work, but don't overdo it to where your clients start suffering. You not being all there because you talked so much that day and you did so much other things with other dogs, right? So always be there with your clients.
Yeah. Good. What about you, Ro?
I would just take a step back. For me, I would, like, I'm going to take after this, after the dogs I have now go home, I'm going to just stick to a certain number until I feel that I'm not stressed out.
Hey, my boy Royal started the year going, hey, we're going to kill it this year. We're going to kill it this year.
And we are. and we are.
But
I mean, everybody
it's inevitable, man. I mean, the thing is, I mean, it gets tiring sometimes, like dealing with a bunch of dogs nonstop. And as much as, you know, it looks good to everybody out there, like, oh, they get to hang out with dogs all day. It's still, it's stressful, especially when you're on a timeline of, I have to get this dog doing this. And, you know, he's not really acting the way that I wanted him to act. And it's tough. It is tough. And so, yeah, I recommend that the way that I dealt with burnout was I would go out and I'd make sure that I have good sessions with my non-client dogs where I felt really good about training, and I literally talk myself into like, man, that was badass. I want to make sure that this board and train is going to look like that. And I almost like psych myself out into like, I'm going to have some fun with this dog right now. I'm going to make sure that I put out the best product. I'm going to look at the dog's energy, the dog's demeanor. I'm going to pay attention to that. Because when I don't do that and I'm literally just walking the dog through steps of something that he has to do over and over and over, I literally get like pains on my freaking neck. That
Blood pressure goes up.
It stresses me out. Like, I hate that. That's not the style of training that I like. So I definitely want to have some fun with the dog. And how can I enjoy my training session while still creating behaviors that are going to help this dog when he goes home? You know what I'm saying?
And granted too, I don't do board and train. I think board and train, it's a lot different. I think because it's all day. It's not 1 hour and then you go home. No, it's all day. So I definitely think you guys are more subject to burnout a lot quicker than I would be, just because the dog goes home. Yeah, you know, the dog goes home at the end of the day. So
and the only reason right now it's difficult is because of the rain. It's just
and then that just adds on top of it.
This rain's killing it for us.
You know, when you got to let the dogs use the restroom, and you got
a lot of client dogs don't like the rain,
plus your own dogs, and it's like, man.
And that too.
But other than that, like the training aspect of it, I really enjoy. It's when it's raining and you know the dogs got to go outside.
They got to go out.
And then you have to dry them off before you put them away because you can't put them away cold because dogs get sick just like humans do. And
more than meets the eye with the dog.
Yeah, for sure. All right, last question, and then we'll go into something else. What got you into dog sports?
I mean, honestly, if we could be honest, probably a little bit of ego. Like, I knew Zeus was really well, and I knew he was really good at what he was doing. Then once I started doing bite work and he started getting good at that, like, I'm the type of person where I'm like, all right, how far can I push it? Like, how high can I get him? How far can I push him? Like, how close to the top can we get? And so that kind of fueled it a little bit. And then once he started getting good at it, I mean, the rest was history. Just keep working at it. I mean, I plan to trial him. I want to get his PDC, and I know they got one coming up in June. I plan to do it. I know he could do it. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. But I like, if you see my Instagram, I'm always running PSA scenarios. I'm running French ring scenarios. I'm doing silly stuff like that. Just, I like to know the fact that my dog can do it. I like to do, I look up to a lot of people whose dogs can do that. And I'm like, you know what? I want to try it too.
No, I think it's good to set goals and, you know, and accomplish them. I think it, you know, it keeps you moving forward for sure.
Something to work towards.
Yes, sir. All right. Anything else you want to ask Shane, bro, before we?
No, I think I've.
All right. So, Shane, you want to talk a little bit about what we're going to do?
All right. So, we're coming up with the course. So, it's going to be an online video course. It's going to have different segments. And so, big picture, we want to do multiple courses online and at some point have some sort of certification at the end of it. And so we want to push towards that, but small picture, we want to give you guys just a little taste. And so what we're going to do is we're going to release a leash walking course. So it's just going to be a loose leash walking course. And along with that, we're going to go over different segments that we will then elaborate more on later on as we start coming out with more courses. So just a rough idea is that we're going to work a little bit of hand feeding, a little bit of luring, a little bit of leash pressure. Then we're going to get into leash walking and prong collar, slip leads, dominant dog collar, star mark prong collars, all these different tools that may help you with your dog. It's going to be very, very informative. We're going to have multiple different dogs at different training levels. So you may see Slim. You're not going to see a dog like Zeus because you guys don't have a dog like Zeus. We need to work with dogs who are still learning these types of things. So we're going to show you with multiple different dogs at different ages, different training stages, but it's going to be just a sample of what we're going to start introducing. So it's going to be the loose leash walking course with Oscar and Shane. And then after we get that going, then we're going to start diving into, maybe focused heels, obedience, place, down, sit, retrieves. We're going to try to build as deep as we can, but we want to try to provide you guys with something that most people need today. Because if I check my inbox all the time, a lot of people, my dog pulls, my dog pulls, my dog pulls. So we're going to give you a very informative course where it's going to be very easy and very interactive with you to be able to figure out how to apply the things we're doing with the dogs on camera to your dog at home.
Yeah. For me, the motivation to do this is, first of all, I really look up to what Shane has been doing, and I see the culture that he's created with his channels and the type of people that he's drawing to his channel. I think is the people that we definitely want to help. So this isn't going to be, this first course is not going to be so much for the sport enthusiasts, more so for the regular pet dog owner. And we just want to teach you guys how to communicate properly with your dog in an effective way that is going to help you with any other issues you're having, such as dog reactivity and all that. So it's going to be hopefully very basic, but also have some very detailed in certain areas. So again, the reason why I decided to do it was because I appreciate everything that he's doing, and I think that we could together help a lot of people out there.
Yeah, and I think I just from being on social media, there's a lot of dog enthusiasts out there. Like a lot of people want to push their dog, and so the good thing, like with even just this loose leash walking course, is that it's going to be the foundation. Right. For anything else that we're going to teach the dog. You want to teach your dog a focused heel, they better know leash pressure on how to back up with the leash and a prong collar. Right. You want to teach your dog any type of advanced behavior, whatever it may be, you better know how to hold that food and deliver that dog that food. You better know how to have correct markers to be able to communicate with that dog. So it's going to be the foundation that's going to lay the path for anything in the future.
1000%. And then we got Roel, who's going to be shooting it.
You already know, Steven Spielberg.
So, anyways, look out for that. It's going to be coming out in the very near future. And, man, thank you for coming on, bro. Course, really appreciate you. It was a good talk. Yes, anything you want to add, Roel?
No, just keep an eye out. Is there anything other than that you want them to know about?
Yeah, tap in.
Where can they reach you?
So my social media is Shane W. Murray. With anything, with TikTok and with Instagram. And just to touch back on the course real quick before we go, there will be a pre-sale. So there will be a pre-sale for the course at a discounted price. And then after that gets dropped, we're not going to have any sales after that until it does come out again. Then even at that, it will be only on sale for a limited time. All right. So you're going to want to hop on it. Oscar is the man. All right. Y'all think I know what the fuck I'm doing. You just haven't seen enough of his videos because he don't post enough. So this is what I'm trying to, part of me trying to do this is to get him in the social media world, because there are so many good dog trainers out there that just aren't super big on social media. And I think it's going to help out a lot of people when they get this other sort of knowledge.
Yep.
So, yeah.
You guys heard it. Pre-sales coming out.
Yes, sir.
Limited supply. Not everyone's going to be able to get it. And once that's done, you're going to have to wait until the entire course is done if you want to take a look at it. So keep an eye out for it. I'm sure we'll all be blasting it on Instagram, TikTok, Oscar. Where can they reach you?
At Oscar Mora Canines and at Elevated Canine Academy.
Yes, sir.
And then same on TikTok. Another thing, the reason why we're doing this is I know that there's a lot of people out there who want to be dog trainers. I think this is going to be the first step into your dog training career.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be big. Like I said, we're gonna certification. We're gonna get it all going.
Yep,
get it all going. But yeah,
cool. Shane, anything else you want to tap in?
No, we're all good. I appreciate you guys having me down here. It means a lot. I've always looked up to you guys, and now here I am sitting in an elevated canine chair. So I like it.
Let's do it.
Awesome. It was a pleasure having you again. Shane W. Murray on all platforms. Oscar Mora Canines on all platforms. Elevated Canine Academy on Instagram. Myself, ECA Roel G on Instagram.
And at Elevated Canine Podcast.
And at Elevated letter K 9 Podcast.
There we go.
All right.
There we go.
We'll see you guys on the next one.
All right, Joe.
Tony.
Very nice.
Let's get it. This that go and get it. With no hesitation. This that never quit.